Hello everyone and welcome to Moonride. So I usually don't make videos so close to one another, but I feel that it is very important to make this video right now because much as after the Kavanaugh hearings, people are very upset, and I just want to encourage you to just bring it down a notch. You know, one thing about those hearings is they did do something positive. People became very involved, and people won. That is, we elected some people that would be very skeptical of Trump and keep him to task. So don't jump to any conclusions. The other point I want to make is I never do this because I want to make sure that I am clear. But after my last reading, I went to verify it by looking at readers that I really like. Lena Rodriguez, Psychic Violetta, and a few others. They're readers I like because I find them to be very accurate. Every single one of them is saying the same thing. Something is going on that we are not seeing. William Barr is doing something behind the scenes that appears in one way, but it may well be another. I'll just give you one interesting fact. And that is simply that Mueller didn't really do the job that he was assigned. Mueller has always been known as a very straightforward guy, following by the book. But he did not reach a conclusion, and that was the main point of his job. Why? This doesn't make any sense. I would advise that anyone, A, take everything that you hear about this with a grain of salt. I found that I got more out of the psychic readings than I did out of the news. I know that sounds somewhat conspiratorial, but that's just how I feel. I would reserve all judgment. The other thing is, just take the news a little bit at a time. If you sit there and watch it obsessively, it's going to drive you crazy. All right? Let's take a look at the man in the moon and see what he has to tell us about this whole William Barr situation. Okay, so Spirit, is Mr. Barr doing something quite contradictory than he has shown us? Maybe I should rephrase the question. What's going on with William Barr? Okay, so I'm back in the same office that I've seen Mr. Barr in before. It's a beautiful, very historic-looking place. And, there's the fire there. And he's behind a desk. Outside a window, he can see the Washington Monument. Now, I've taken the Washington Monument to have a sort of meaning of justice. Let's not forget that George Washington had slaves, okay? This might be a very contradictory image. It might be all about politics. But I don't feel it is. I feel like he's sitting there and he's got a sense of calm. And I don't feel like he's a liar. I just don't. I just feel like he's really serious. And I do feel like he's a patriot and that he is thinking of our country's future. One other interesting thing is that Mueller's in the room, and it's like he's zigzagging around and making all of these movements. They don't seem to be in contradiction, per se, to Barr. That is, although they don't concur with Barr, it doesn't seem like they're enemies in this situation. It's sort of like Barr is contemplating as he watches Mueller zip around the room. And Mueller's making these movements, and Barr is just trying to think of, how can I put this forward to the public without creating chaos? They don't seem in opposition at all. They seem in relationship to each other, and it seems really serious. They are not thinking of themselves. They really aren't thinking even of political parties. They're thinking of the nation and what we can accept right now. All right, so he's just sort of contemplating, and he's very serious, and he's taking out a pen. And it's one of those old old kind of pens where you dip the ink, you dip the pen in the ink and then sort of writing. And then he's thinking about it, and then he's asking Mueller, what should I do? What do you think? Writing again, writing again. It seems like they are, working together. So, what is Barr doing? All right, so I'm seeing a ship, and it's one of those big old cruise ships. Barr and Mueller are there, and they're trying to convince Trump to get on. I just have a feeling that they're trying to convince Trump to leave. Trump doesn't want him to go because he's suspicious. I see a big old hole in the side of the ship. He's afraid if he leaves, the ship will sink. They're getting out an old set of parchment and they're trying to get Trump to sign it. And he's seeing his kids. They're putting pressure on him. He's feeling the pressure of saving others, but he's not signing. He's very, very conflicted about this. He doesn't want to lose control of it, because if he loses control of this, he can't predict what happens. Again, the ship with the hole, and I mean, he's just looking at the ship with the hole, and he's like, sure, it looks like a big old cruise ship, but, I'm not a fool. Barr's looking at Mueller, and they're trying to find a way to convince him. They're trying to find a way to reassure him. But they're having trouble themselves. They can't really promise anything to him. Barr's using his authority. He's saying to him, like, look, I have a lot of authority here. I'm head of the Justice Department. I can control some of this. I can protect you. And Trump kind of gets halfway through his signature, and then he doesn't. So, Spirit, did Trump make an agreement with Barr? Did he agree to do something? I wonder if there wasn't some kind of conference call. I don't know if they actually went and saw Trump at Mar-a-Lago. That's the feeling that I get, that he was at Mar-a-Lago, and that they're just looking at him and they're saying, hey, look, you got to agree to do this. Now, one thing about Trump is he can never say no to a person face-to-face. He can only do it if he's removed. This is just a dysfunctional type of person. In a strange way, he wants people to like him. So he'll say yes to their faces, but not really do it. So I think he agreed to do something, but they know he's not going to do it. And they're really back in that office, and that's what they're doing. They're going back and forth. What do we do? What do we do? What do we do about this country? Anything could happen if we release the truth, and it'll be totally overwhelming to the American people. It will result in great strife, people getting harmed and shot. This is just... we're in an unknown territory. We don't know what to do, and we can't ask others for help because we can't let them know what's going on. I'm seeing that there's a meeting with a bunch of, it looks like they could be senators, and they're sitting at a long table in the White House. It might be the White House, it might be the Capitol thing, but Trump is not there. And they're talking to these people. Again, it could be senators, but it could be some other body that is going to make some decisions. And that in that body, they're going to have to let them know the political crisis that awaits. And if Trump doesn't come to some terms, they're going to have to find some other methods to deal with them. And I do feel like it could be a few senators from the left and right. Again, this might not literally be true. It might be figurative that they are speaking to important people in the government, or they're going to figure this all out. And the temperature is hot. There, I can see a thermometer, and it's just going through the roof. The nature of the what might happen is really. I see it even being more upsetting to the Republicans than the Democrats. I see Pelosi and I see McConnell. McConnell's so hot that his glasses are misting over. He has to take them off and wipe them clean in order to see them again. Now they're misting again. He just like the heat coming off of this situation is just, it's really, really stressing him out. And he himself is having trouble figuring out what to do. He's weighing his own political future against that of the nation. It's interesting because there's a sort of power on the table, and it is actually saying, look, you've waited your whole life to take action, and to take action that matters. Was that just lip service? Are you going to do it? And he keeps looking at the sword in the middle of the table. He's really hesitating. He's not sure he can handle it. And it's like a Russian roulette where the sword is being spun and it spins and it keeps pointing to him. And he's just like, oh man, I'm going to have to handle this. But he doesn't know what to do. Nobody in the room knows quite what to do. And Pelosi has the power here. She's looking at him and she's saying, well, I can just make it all public. I can just let everybody know. She didn't want to do that because she knows the seriousness of this situation. But she's got her own issues. Hey, do we really want this crisis to remain here? We can't function if we have to have a political, blowout. That may be the only choice. She's got more power than him. So, Spirit, is McConnell going to get Trump to resign? It's funny because I see him take that sword and cut his own wrist. I think he might finally just do something. And he's looking at the political realities. And he understands this is going to hurt. But it's just one wrist. It's not both. It's like, given the choices, this is maybe a better situation. Okay, Spirit, should we believe what Barr has reported to us? He's separated it out, okay? So he's put forth some things that are true, but it very consciously, he's very selectively chosen words that are somewhat true out of context. And he's calculating very carefully like what's going to be presented and what is not going to be presented. He's looking at me very directly, and a tear runs down his cheek, And he's kind of just giving me the impression sometimes it's okay to lie, and sometimes you need to lie. He's going over to her cabinet. There's a bunch of law books. And as he opens them, he says, look, this is us. This is the only thing that we have as a nation. All of these things. I can't destroy the cabinet. I can't burn down this building and just start again. Everything that we've lived through will be, muted. I've got to find a way in this legal, these legal tomes. Somewhere there must be a solution to this problem, and I've got to find it. Spirit, when will we know? When will we know what he does? I get, again, the April 14th, 15th date. I get that as something important. That we might, he's showing me a book. He's showing me there's something in the book. There's something in the book that answers our questions about what we ought to do legally. And he takes the knife and drives it right through the center of that book. It's like, this is it. This is the stand right through the center of the book. This is it. This is the crux of everything right here. This is what I'm going to hang everything on. This paragraph right here in this book. Wow. And my question, kind of in my mind before I've said it, is, is Barr a good man? I mean, do we trust him? Is he a patriot? Barr sees himself hung out to dry. He sees that this is going to be really bad for him personally and politically, that he will literally be hung from a tree. He knows that's what's going to happen. Even for posterity, he knows that there will be many people who will never forgive him for this. It's funny because he comes up to a wagon and he sees him in a wagon and he sees himself hanging from a tree. But he says, I must move on. I must go forward. And there's 6 horses. It's a strong movement forward. And he's like, I'm going to go forward and not look back. It's interesting because he actually sees his wife, and it's something that he must live up to. It's like a she in a way sort of represents what's good or what's right or what's ethical. It's more important that he look in her eyes and feel validated and trustworthy. It's much more important than that, even if the whole nation hates me, I have to live up to the ethics that my wife represents. He's taking a sword and he's moving to the fire in his office and he's kind of heating it. He's heating it up. Mueller's by his side. They're sort of standing as 2 figures next to the fireplace. He's really heating the sword. Now Mueller's also got his own sword, and they're sort of there almost like as sort of protectors, showing me the Constitution. Yeah, they're very sad. I mean, the tear runs down their cheeks. It's like, And it stains. It goes down into the Constitution and it stains the ink. They're telling me Trump won't sign it. He will not sign it. He won't do what he's supposed to do, even if it's no matter what. He just he trusts himself more than anyone else. He thinks he's going to find a way out of this if he maintains his power. But the two men, Mueller and Barr, are staying true to their ideals. So, Spirit, how soon can we expect a resolution? Okay, cherry blossoms. I don't know when the blossoms come out in DC, but I'm getting cherry blossoms. I assume that's in April at some point, but it could be May. You have to check that one out. But it seems like by that time things have eased up. The blossoms are shining. It's a beautiful time. They're feeling a lot of relief by then. Reporters come up and speak to them. They feel safe speaking to the reporters. And Barr is putting on his hat as if to leave. And it is also if to say, look, I've done my job. I've done my duty. You know, you often see people with a little flag on their lapel. It's one thing to have a flag on your lapel and show people that you are American. It's another thing to have a flag on the inside of your lapel next to your heart. That is the true American who does what's difficult. So believe it or not, now I'm seeing other readers, and they're just kind of looking at me, and they're just kind of smiling and confirming. Yes, and this arc, there's sort of an arc that forms a rainbow in front of me. And they're all kind of doing the same thing for me. Just do your best to walk away from the stress involved in this. Keep tabs on it if you must, but do your best to not go too deeply into every detail. Just feel free to take time off, learn what you need to know. It's extremely difficult to do because you have to trust the universe, but it will work out. We will move on in our consciousness. No matter what happens, we will move on, and this will work out. Part of spirituality is the wheel, right? And as a wheel turns, you have different spokes of the wheel, but it comes back. Sometimes it takes a long time, but it comes back. And right now we're experiencing one spoke of the wheel. But remember, this is all attached at one spot in the middle. Good question to ask is, what are you learning right now? What are you getting out of this? Don't let yourself be a subject to all of the trauma. Let yourself be an active person. Let yourself do whatever you need to do in your own life, in your own relationships. And don't let this overshadow your own work and life. It is hard to accept that justice will come, but it really will come. And it's just a question of time. I'm seeing a watch. All right, thanks for watching.